All right, so here what we're going to do is we're just going to multiply and we're going to divide. And we're going to use what we learned before. If we have, one negative times a positive, it's going to be a negative answer. If we have two negatives multiplied together, that's going to give us a positive answer. And then we kind of expanded that to if we have an odd number of negatives, it's going to be negative. And if we have an even number of negatives, it will be positive. So 7 times negative 4. Well, there's one negative, so we know our answer is negative. 7 times 4, well, that's going to give us 28. What about moving over here? 15 divided by 3. Well, that's a positive divided by a positive, so we know our final answer is positive, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. Well, what about this one? We have a negative times a negative, so we know our answer is positive, and 3 times 5 is 15. Now here we have 18 divided by a negative 3. Well, here we have a positive divided by a negative, so we know our answer is negative. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Here we have a negative 6 times a positive 4. One negative sign only, it's odd, so it's going to be negative. 6 times 4 is 24. Here we have a negative divided by a positive, so we know it's going to be a negative, and 48 divided by 6 is 8. Now we go back to, evens and odds. So here we have the opposite of the negative 7. So that's going to be negative times negative. That's positive. So that's just going to give us 7. We have an even number here. Well, here if we look at the number of negative signs, we have 1, 2, 3. So it's an odd number. So we know our answer is going to be a negative 3. Now, if you need to go through and say, okay, well, that times that is going to be a positive, and then a positive times a negative, it's going to be a negative, you can do that. Or just count the number, get it odd or even, and then make it that appropriate value over here. Now here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's even. So that means we should get a positive out, and so we'll get just 9. And again, if you need to take this times this, negative and negative is positive, this negative and this negative is positive, and two positives make a positive, you can do that as well. All right, so now we're looking back to, looks like mixing subtractions and multiplications all together here. So here we have 4 minus a negative 1. Well, remember, a negative negative is positive, so this is really 4 plus 1, and 4 plus 1, both of them have the same sign, so we just add and we get 5. Here we're multiplying 7 times negative 5. We only have one negative, so it's going to be a negative answer. 7 times 5, that's going to give us 35. Now here again, we want to convert this to an addition instead of the subtraction. And so we're going to have a negative 3 plus the opposite of 3. So we have a negative plus a negative. So what we can do is we can just add those together. 3 plus 3 is 6. And we take the sign of both of them, which was negative. Here we're having a negative times a negative. And so that's going to be a positive. So 8 times 4 is going to give us 32. Now this one's nice. We have a negative plus a negative. We don't have to convert it like we had to up here. We can just take 4 plus 1 is 5, negative, negative, so we have a negative answer. And the last one on the page, we have a negative times a positive, so we go have a negative. 9 times 7, that's going to be 63. All right, let's pause there.